Marine reacts to SCP-096, also known as the Shy Guy, classified as a Euclid, and is a cognitohazard SCP by TheVolgun. Now, I've seen a lot of people commenting not only to watch 096, but to also see the live action short film. And I was told that the short film doesn't have necessarily as much information as you would get from a regular Volgun video or from other channels on the SCP lore. So I decided I'm going to watch the Volgun's version real quick just to get an in-depth look about this SCP, and then after, watch the short film. That way I can have a better understanding as to what's going on. And as always, I'm going to be leaving the link to the original video and channel down below, so go ahead and check that out. I also just want to take a moment here and thank everybody who has been subscribing, liking, commenting. I try to see every single comment, and honestly the growth right now is just insane right now. So I really want to say thank you for the continued support. So before we get started though, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help me out a lot. Subscribe so you get notified when I post. And make sure you're going to hit that bell button right there. That way you're going to get notified every time I upload. Uploading on a daily basis, sometimes even twice a day. I usually work on them in the mornings and then release them on later on in the afternoon. That way when you all get off work, you all can watch it at your leisure. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and see what the Shy Guy is about.
Hello everyone. So, long story short, my security clearance is not adequate for the anomaly you're being briefed on today. So, Mobile Task Force Commander Robert Hunt will be covering the briefing after I get a few systems up and running. Anyway, I'll see you all later, and I hope you learned something. Goodbye. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Can you confirm that ACID is online and
I love these
Scramble
voices that these people have.
2.1 has been initialized? Thank you. Let's begin.
Well, this is a different format than usual.
SCP-096. Object Class Euclid.
Easy to
Special
contain.
Containment Procedures. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5-meter cubed airtight steel cube, at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell.
Jesus.
Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. Any and all photographs, video, or recordings of SCP-096's likeness are strictly
that and the little
forbidden
scramble thing,
without
I'm assuming is a
approval
little
from Dr.
foreshadowing.
Or 05. Description: SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass, with preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair.
And no genitalia.
SCP-096's jaw can open to 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from 35 kilometers per hour to
you look at this
kilometers per hour,
and he goes to kill the person
on the distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096-1 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note: This reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See document 0961. Documentation 0961 of experiment
so you can paint his
0961.
Face. And
experiment
that shouldn't do anything?
0961 is headed by Dr. Dan. Purpose is to test SCP-096's abilities while obtaining complete physical description of SCP-096. D9031 is a 32-year-old convicted felon and former tattoo artist. D9031 is placed inside Bathysphere 303A, which is then lowered in the Tonga Trench off the coast of New Zealand. Position is approximately 6 kilometers from SCP-096's temporary containment cell at site.
How far it was.
The following was recorded via video surveillance inside Bathysphere 303A, between it and Dr. Dan's control site on the New Zealand mainland. Bathysphere 303A reaches final depth of 10,800 meters.
It stopped. What now? Do you feel fine? No sickness? Anything? My ears hurt. That should be expected. Now, on your left, you should see a steel container. Open it, and there will be a manila folder holding several photographs.
Are you going to try to make him draw it out there? See if he can go get him?
D9031 complies. The
Or
camera is
test the
located
distance
so
there?
the photograph cannot be seen.
Nothing. It's an empty cell. Thank you. Please set this photograph face down in the receptacle to your right, and look at the next photograph. It's the same cell, but there's a foot in it, I think. Describe it, please. It's pale and bony. Sort of creepy, actually. Place the photograph in the receptacle face down, and look at the next
God, I would hate to be one of these D-class personnel.
Oh shit! Describe the photograph. It's I don't know, some creepy ass person. Describe the photograph, please. Hell, man. He's pale, has white eyes, and something up is happening with his mouth. What the hell is that thing?
At this point, approximately 1332 Standard Time, Dr. Dan and Experiment Control is notified that SCP-096 has breached containment.
Ooh.
The fastest path to SCP-096-1 has been cleared of civilians and other image capturing devices, and SCP-096 is now being tracked by satellites via tracking collar.
On your right, there should be another steel container. Open it. It's a pad of paper and a pencil. Yes. Please draw a sketch of the photo you saw.
It makes you wonder how long this shy guy can hold his breath.
Mumbles an
Because they, what,
expletive
10,000
and
meters
spends
plus
the next
underneath?
20 minutes drawing a sketch of the photograph. At the time of completion, SCP-096 is confirmed to be kilometers away from SCP-096-1.
I'm done. Good. Place the drawing in the receptacle on your left, and close the door.
SCP-096-1 complies, and the sketch leaves Bathysphere 303A in a watertight buoyancy container.
Oh, so they just had him,
The other photographs are then
so
incinerated
they can actually have
in
like
the
a
onboard
physical
incinerator.
just look at him, because it doesn't work if you draw it.
Please stand by.
40
Ooh.
minutes pass. SCP-096 is now confirmed to be at SCP-096-1's position and is diving. Transponder signal
fuck?
ends at 9,339 meters as pressure goes beyond the device's operational limits. The camera shows the bathysphere shaking slightly. From SCP-096-1's reaction, it is assumed SCP-096 is on the hull and is visible through the viewport. Video and audio feed is cut as the hull of Bathysphere 303A is breached. SCP-096 is recovered by Surface Recovery Team Foxtrot 303A without incident. The sketch of SCP-096 is also recovered, and a quick test confirms no hostile reaction from SCP-096. Sketch is sent to Experiment Control on New Zealand, while SCP-096 is moved to permanent containment.
Well, at least now they have a picture of him.
Upon arriving at SCP-0961's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and
Does he eat him?
SCP-096-1.
Or does he just kill him?
100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat,
Or that though?
Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of subject should be considered alpha priority.
You imagine he put this dude in the city?
Has also petitioned for immediate termination of SCP-096. See Interview 096-1. Order was awaiting approval. Termination order has been approved and is to be carried out by Dr.
Okay, so this is when they're actually trying to kill them.
See Incident 096-1A.
How strong is this guy though?
Containment has been attained? Yes, Doctor. Let me see the security footage. Begin log. A large steel cube is shown in the middle of a research lab, which is teeming with a dozen or so researchers. In view of the camera is a control booth, displaying readings from various sensors inside the cube. Fast forward 1 minute, 32 seconds. The control booth operator leans forward, alerted to the various readings on the sensors. Approximately 5 seconds later, a steel wall on the containment cube receives a sizable dent bending outward.
Oh, we know he's strong.
The dent becomes larger before breaking. SCP-096 is seen bending the steel away, frantically trying to escape. Emergency plates drop on the cube as a containment breach is sounded. The security tape has SCP-096's face blurred out, as per containment protocol. 2 security teams enter the room as SCP-096 breaks out of containment. Live rounds and tranquilizer darts are fired to no visible effect. Approximately 90% of researchers and security personnel have directly viewed SCP-096's face, and a code Lima is declared. The room and surrounding areas are sealed and flushed with class nerve
They just killed
agent.
everybody.
Approximately 2 minutes later, SCP-096 breaches research site and travels kilometers through the outside desert, traveling. End log.
Kind of wanted to see how fast he was going.
Echo Romeo was assigned to immediate containment breach. When we realized just how big a breach we were dealing with, we were completely overwhelmed. Funny how the best and brightest minds in the world can be so unprepared. So, you're saying it's your own fault? Absolutely not. This was a new discovery in SCP-096's behavior. We had no way to know. And we were lucky it didn't turn into an XK.
What's the next?
Begin log. Helm cam footage from ER1. Footage from inside a UH-60 shows SCP-096 on the desert floor, moving at a
They're saying that
considerable
they had the
speed.
Scramble thing on the camera. Why not put that like in some kind of glasses or something, and then have people
ERA listens
be
to
able
the
to
radio
like, look at
as
them
orders are
without
relayed.
them trying to kill the people.
SCP-096 can be seen slowly gaining speed. ERA motions off camera. ER3 appears, holding a modified XM500 anti-material rifle. 2 shots are fired. The first misses, and the second hits SCP-096 in the lower leg. SCP-096 stumbles, but recovers. Speed change is insignificant.
Target. I repeat, no effect on target.
ERA motions to ER3 again. ER3 fires 3 more shots. The first 2 miss, and the third hits SCP-096 in the head. SCP-096 falls, skids, and rolls several times, reducing its speed minimally. SCP-096 rolls to its feet and continues unabated. Camera pans up to see 8 V-22 Ospreys belonging to Mobile Task Force Tower 1 flying overhead and past the helicopters on the same outbound vector as SCP-096.
But why?
Camera cuts out.
Why does he kill you
End
though?
log.
If you look at his face,
Begin log.
obviously he's shy guy kind
Video
of
interview log.
says it in the name, but
096-1A.
they're probably not even going to say it either.
Dr.
They'll
Alexei
be
appears very calm
vague
and
about it.
determined, and answers all questions slowly and deliberately.
Where were you exactly at the time of the breach? On break, getting a cup of coffee. It was pure luck I wasn't caught in the containment area. Describe your actions directly after the containment breach. I sent Echo Romeo after SCP-096 and alerted Dr. Dan to the situation. We then set upon the task of locating SCP-096-1. Once the general direction
that's the
of
person that saw it.
SCP-096 was determined, I sent the Mobile Task Force Tau 1 ahead to evacuate civilian population centers in SCP-096.
I'm very curious as to what mobile task force the SCP Foundation has. I would assume they would have different ones for different
End
environments,
log.
different types of SCPs.
Begin log. Dr. Daniel
What are
Dan
these images?
sits patiently. On the table in front of
Oh,
him
yeah,
is
night
what
vision
looks
goggles.
to be a set of modified night vision goggles.
For the record, where were you exactly during SCP-096's containment breach? In the mountain range, trying to find more information on SCP-096's origins. It was a quick research expedition, so I left Dr. Alexei in charge of containment. He is competent enough, if a bit eager, and he has proved himself in the past. This is all confirmed by the various related paperwork, so don't go thinking. It was just for the record, Doctor. Now, knowing that SCP-096 is immune to all known forms of damage while in an enraged state, why would you order the sniper attack?
While in the
emergency
enraged state.
response team?
But what have they tried?
Why not?
I need to know what these guys
If there
are
was a
trying.
chance to slow down SCP-096 and give Mole Task Force Tab one more time, then we had to try it. I put ER in no danger, and the choppers were in danger of being outrun anyway. Honestly, ER could do little else to help or harm the situation. I see. Now, could you explain this?
Interview emotions to the goggles lying on the table.
Yes. This is Project Scramble, an eyepiece we assigned to ER and Mole Task Force Tab 1.
Tab 1
Designed by
just
Dr.
sounds really
Alexei
cool.
And myself, specifically for SCP-096. It carries a small microprocessor which constantly analyzes the viewing field for the facial features of SCP-096. Facial recognition software inside instantly identifies them, scrambling the image into an
What'd I tell you?
unrecognizable mess before the light
What did I
reaches
tell
the
you?
human eye.
Put those in the goggles.
It's quite ingenious, really.
I think I may have said glasses though, but same thing.
Very. Which is why it's such a shame it didn't work.
But then why does it
End
work
log.
with camera?
Begin log. Audio transcript between Mobile Task Force Tower 1 and modified EG-3 Sentry AWACS. Call sign, Big Brother.
Ospreys in the air. Moving. Awaiting vector.
Electronics online.
I've been in an
Using
Osprey
altitude
before.
reach.
They're very
Uploading
shaky.
program Scramble to all camera systems. Cameras online. Big Brother is now watching.
What outbound vector is the target currently heading?
Target is currently westbound, traveling on... Shit. Yeah, he's on the I-40. I think he
Jesus.
just flipped a semi. Outbound vector is...
Alright, so he's very strong. Very fast.
by- Next town on the vector, I'd say a couple 100 kilometers. Shit. MTF, we're suggesting Echo Romeo begin evacuating the I-40. I don't know how many cars the target has wrecked.
Hold 1. That's a negative, Big Brother. ER is reporting that the target is outrunning her choppers. They
Seriously?
can't get ahead of him.
Then get them to stop the motorists on the other lane. I don't know how many people have seen this thing's face.
End log.
This guy's
The
starting
first
to
three
sound a
elements of
little
Tower
OP.
1 succeeded in gathering the townsfolk in the first 3 towns without incident. SCP-0961 was confirmed not to be in any of these when SCP-096 ran through each in turn without stopping. However, a video log in NTF Tower shows SCP-0961 being identified in the town of and the ensuing incident. Show it. Begin log. Helm cam footage from Element 4 of Mobile Task Force Tower 1 in the town of... Most of the townspeople are gathered in the square, all blindfolded. Helicopters sweep the town. Indistinct orders are heard over the loudspeakers from both the helicopters and the ground personnel.
The target is entering the proximity zone. All units activate scramble gear and begin crowd control.
I thought they said it didn't work though.
All civilians are not to move from their spot or remove their blindfolds. If you move or touch your blindfold, you will be shot. I repeat, all civilians will be shot.
Ooh.
Approximately
Shit.
2 kilometers away, SCP-096 is seen to be coming over the
kinda
crest
gave
of
me
the
chills.
hills. It tries to slow down on the descent, but trips and tumbles down at high speed, crashing through several houses before regaining its footing almost without delay.
You will. Civilians are not to
This dude's
move.
kind of like the Juggernaut. Once he gets moving, he doesn't stop.
Several shots are heard, none of which are directed at SCP-096. SCP-096 stops for 1 second before running into the crowd of townsfolk, throwing many aside and trampling more. More shots are heard as the crowd begins dispersing. The loudspeakers unintelligible under the vocalizations of SCP-096. SCP-096 locates SCP-096-1, a middle-aged man, and the camera views SCP-096 grabbing him before it is hit by a fleeing townsperson and is dislocated from the helmet.
Damn.
End log. Begin log. Video interview log 096-1C.
I was looking through SCP-096-1's house with my squad. Poor bastard was a semi-pro mountaineer. Took a trip to the... Apparently he took a snapshot of the landscape and just happened to catch SCP-096.
You know, sometimes I wonder if they put the redacted parts just because the author couldn't think of what to put.
For emphasis.
4 pixels.
Or just to leave it up to the imagination.
4 fucking pixels. I doubt the guy even knew what he saw. He was probably just looking at the picture one day, noticed an off-color patch of snow.
So we saw him in a photo
with
4 pixels only that showed his face.
That was Scramble.
And that was enough.
Picked it up straight away. The lieutenant got the picture and took it down to the chopper before I ever got to see it. By then, the damn monster had taken down Big Brother and had peeled open the former Major Strike. All hell was breaking loose. So the Scramble gear was ineffective? Ineffective? The goddamn Scramble were pieces of shit that killed the whole damn task force! You know, only 3 people were alive besides me. All because some retard egghead thought a state-of-the-art countermeasure to SCP-096's hostile reaction. Those bloody idiots could have put a bag over the target's head and been done with it, but no. We had to use state-of-the-art Scramble.
End log.
Yeah, wait.
Begin log.
Why don't you put a bag over his head?
What did that call me? I'll show that goddamn son of a bitch what an egghead is after I bash open his...
Interviewee begins shouting and cursing.
Do we need to administer a sedative, Doctor? No. No, I apologize. Scramble was a really ingenious idea. However, it was a failure because we did not fully know how SCP-096 worked. You see, as the chip inside Scramble picked up SCP-096's facial features and began scrambling them, there was a split second of uninterrupted light flow to the retina. Computers are fast, but not as fast as light, so there was a split second image of SCP-096's direct face sent to the brain. It wasn't even consciously received, but apparently it was enough to trigger the hostile reaction in SCP-096.
Huh.
So, with the report of this photograph, that's the most disturbing part of this whole incident. You know when the former SCP-096-1 went on his mountain trip? 1990. That's years of that photo hanging there before he saw SCP-096. Since the brain doesn't need to be aware that it is viewing SCP-096's face to trigger the reaction, there could be ticking time bombs hidden literally anywhere.
So people could have photos of this guy in the background.
How many photographs
and
are out there
maybe one day someone looks at it, accidentally sees them, even if he doesn't know it's there. Then they're screwed.
As I said before, I want this thing terminated. Now.
But what have you tried to terminate him? That's
Just
what I
a
need to
quick
know.
question, Doctor. What exactly were you planning on doing there? Major Jack Wilford was top-notch SBS when we recruited him.
I was also a recon corpsman, sir, and I was deployed in the Caucasus. Marines beat SBS.
No, they don't. Enough.
Marines.
Both of you. Moving on. Begin log. Video interview log 096-1D.
I got the bag over its head. Yes, you told me that. Could you tell me exactly what transpired? It was done with Alex. And it was sitting there. In the highway. Just got done ripping open a minivan.
Interviewee is silent.
And... Wes landed the chopper. I got out and begged.
I mean, it seems like this guy doesn't... If he innately knows where
the bag over its head.
the person that sees his face is going to be, and he just goes directly to him, just have a bag or steel box something over his head. That way, even if he does go out and kill the person, they don't have to worry about being able to see his face, because he really has it on him. Because it doesn't seem like he would try to scratch it
for the
off
remainder
or
of
break
the
it off.
interview and was released. He was later found in his bunk room, having committed suicide via hanging with a makeshift rope. A half-crushed pacifier was found in his fist. End log. Begin log. Video log 096 1D. Confiscated tape from news broadcast CNN. The image shows first responders surrounding the remains of a crashed plane over the shoulder of a field reporter.
The plane, which seems to be military in origin, has no outward markings designating it as part of the U.S. military.
Oh yeah, they don't know about the SCP Foundation.
Black box recording. It is thought by police that the plane crashed due to a massive cabin breach in both the cockpit and fuselage.
The reporter motions to a large hole in the side of the plane, which several firefighters are climbing inside.
Paramedics have found only 3 bodies, which is odd for a plane apparently requiring a crew of around 20 men. Police have suggested that
the reporter is cut off, as 3 super stallions are shown hovering overhead, 2 of which land and begin unloading troops belonging to Mobile Task Force Epsilon.
Shut off the camera. Shut off the
Shit.
End log. Begin log.
So, are we finished here? One last question, Doctor. Or statement, as it seems. We find it interesting that there was no break room at research site. Or coffee.
An inside job?
The interviewee remains silent.
Ooh.
We think it would be best if you began talking.
I think they're about to oof this guy.
Remainder of video interview log 0961A redacted. End log. I don't see what that has to do with me. There's no reason to play dumb, Doctor. He's told us everything. Well then, I guess there's no use in feigning anything. Is there? Audio recording. 05 hearing.
Upon review
05, that's the guys at the very top.
In the confession of the late Dr. Alexei, it is the unanimous agreement of the 05 that you are to be terminated for your part in the gross breach of SCP-096. And I thought you would know the meaning of for the greater good. Do not try my patience, Doctor.
Does he mean that they're just gonna let him go, or they're gonna kill him?
The 05 have approved your request for termination
I mean, I would assume kill him, given everything he knows.
Given the lack of personnel with understanding of SCP-096, the termination will be entrusted to you, under heavy guard and the personal supervision of me. Your own termination will be scheduled at a later date.
End log. That's horrible, Doctor. How could you know it worked? It was only a matter of time until that happened in a major population center and its face spread all over the news. I can kill 096, but I've killed myself in the process.
Then tell them how.
Audio log from interview 096 1. Interviewer, Dr. Interviewed, retired Captain. Former commander of Retrieval Team Zulu 9, Alpha. Retrieval Incident 096 1A. Begin log.
It always sucks ass to get initial retrieval duty. You have no idea what the damn thing is capable of besides what jacked up information the field techies can scrape up. And you're lucky if they even tell you the whole story. They told us to bag and tag. Didn't tell us jack shit about not looking at the damn thing.
Oh, so they got set
Could you
up.
describe the mission, please?
Yeah, sorry. We had 2 choppers. One with my team, and one on backup with Zulu 9B and Dr. We spotted the target about 2 clicks north of our patrol path. I'm guessing he wasn't facing in our direction, else he would have taken us out then and there.
And your report says SCP-096 didn't react to the cold. It was -°C.
Actually, it was minus... And yes, it was butt naked, and it didn't do so much as shiver. Anyway, we landed, approached the target, and Corporal got ready to bag it. That's what Dr. called. I turned to answer it, and that's what saved me. The target must have turned and my whole squad saw it.
That's when SCP-096 entered an agitated, emotional state.
Yep. Sorry. Got the willies for a second.
That's alright.
Yeah, well, I never saw its face. My squad did.
So you can,
paid for it up
so long
the
as
ass.
the face isn't seen,
Could you
you're
describe
fine,
it
right?
a
Like you
little
could
more,
look at
please?
its feet, at least to know where it's at.
Yeah. It started screaming at us and crying. Not animal roaring, though. It sounded exactly like a person. Really fucking creepy. We started firing when it picked up Corporal and ripped off his leg. God, he was screaming for our help. Anyway, we were blowing chunks out of the target, round after round. Didn't do jack shit. I almost lost it when it started.
That's when you ordered the use of an
I'm wondering if you said eating him.
AT-4 HDT launcher.
An anti-tank gun. Started carrying it ever since SCP got loose. I've seen those things tear through tanks like tissue paper. Did the same thing to the target.
There was significant damage to SCP-096.
It didn't even f***ing flinch. It kept tearing apart my squad, but with half of its torso gone.
But was it taking damage?
He's also
If it
got
was,
insane durability
it
then.
wasn't showing it. It must have lost all its organs, all its blood, but it didn't acknowledge any of it.
It's kind of like a Medusa
Its bone
type
structure
thing.
wasn't hurt at all, though. It kept tearing my squad apart.
So, no actual structural damage. How many rounds would you say were fired at SCP-096?
At the least, 1,000. Our door gunner kept his Gao 19 on it for at least 20 seconds. 20 seconds. That's 650 caliber rounds pumped into the thing. Might as well have been spitting at it.
Jesus.
This is when Zulu 9B arrived.
Yeah, my squad was gone. Zulu 9B managed
Well,
to
I
get
just
the
saw his
bag over
face,
its
so.
head and it just sat down. We got it into the chopper and got it here. I don't know how I never saw its face. Maybe God or Buddha or whoever thought I should live. Jackass.
We have obtained an artist's depiction of SCP-096's face. Would you like to view it?
You know, after hearing that thing's screams and the screams of my men, I don't think I want to put a face to what I heard. No.
Can't even blame him, man.
No.
All right. I believe we're done here. Thank you, Captain. Let this be on record that I'm formally requesting SCP-096 be terminated as soon as possible.
Launch him into space.
End log. 27. There have been 27 attempts on SCP-096's life in the past 6 months, all directed by the man who set him free, Dr. Daniels. Daniels, for his part, has spent the last 6 months in a cell. On a good day, he is escorted to the testing chambers to oversee an attempt, and then back to that cell. His termination has been delayed in order to allow him to oversee the destruction of SCP-096.
But what has he
But the
tried?
O5s are losing their patience. Dr. Daniels is a condemned man, but if all he can do is fail, well, they have plenty of other people who can handle this project. He has a month left.
If they did, why didn't they
Regardless
just put
of
him
his
on
results,
it?
at the end of that month, he will be terminated. These are his last days, and last attempts to take SCP-096 with him.
Shoot this guy into the sun. Alright, now before we talk about this, I want to just repeat again. I forgot to overlay the videos before I started recording, so I had to overlay them in the post-editing. And the sound might be off a little bit, and the actual video might be a bit blurry. But I've been able to get it to the best that I can. It's synced up. I have double, triple checked it. So, if you saw it, thank you. You know, it's a mistake that I'm not going to do again. Double checking every time now before I start recording anything. So with the Shy Guy, I'm excited to see how they would adapt this to a short film. Because we did get a lot of information on him. And I'm very... Because this is one of those SCPs that they're actually just trying to actively kill. Kind of like the SCP-682. From what I remember correctly. I think they were still in the process of trying to kill him. Or trying to get the approval to kill him. So they shot an anti-tank missile at this guy. They shot him with 50 cal rounds. Nothing. Or it did damage, but he kept on going. It's kind of like the Juggernaut feeling. As soon as he gets going, you can't really stop him. And I thought it was crazy to the point where even through secondary means, you're still gonna get killed by this guy. And not to mention that he only saw 4 pixels in a picture, and that was enough to agitate him to the point that he went to wherever this guy was and killed him. So this is one of those SCPs where it's starting to really seem like this guy's a little OP, but I mean, that's kind of what makes a great story. I do have concerns about, like, as far as the guy who put the bag over his head, why not put like a steel box? So even if he does break out, someone sees him in a picture that someone else may have took, at least that way when the recovery team's trying to go get him, they're not going to be injuring not only other civilians, but they're not going to be injuring or endangering themselves as well. Because he took out that mobile task force, it was like Tau something, Tau 1. And they also mentioned that they tried several times already to try to kill him, and I kind of want to know what exactly and how they're trying to do this, because I've even seen people comment that there is a video out there on SCP-682, the reptile, that they've actually have documentation of how they try to kill him. And I believe someone even said they try to narrate him out of the story. So I don't know exactly what he means by that, but I'm curious to find out. And so next up is going to be the SCP-096 short film. I want to see how exactly they're going to transfer this to the big screen in a sense. So until then, I'm really appreciating all the support that I'm getting right now. I'm going to continue to upload every day. And before we head off here, don't forget to like. If you liked it, dislike if you didn't like, it really helps me improve the channel. Subscribe, hit that notification bell. You're going to be notified every single time I upload. And as always, I'll see you on the next reaction video. Bye.